Okay, I call to order the meeting of Monday, July 22nd, 2024 to order. I ask all who have not signed in, please do so. Please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please conduct any private conversations in the hallway or outside. Emergency exits can be found to your right and to your left. This meeting is also live streamed via YouTube with text commenting available. At this time, if you please join the town board in a salute to the flag. Allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands. Okay, a couple brief announcements. I wish to declare necessarily absent town board members Alexis Ogra and Dave Condon this evening. And I know it's almost tail end of July, but we did have 5 employees celebrated birthdays this month. Back on the 2nd of July, Susie Mandrino, Craig Cummings on the 6th, John DeCook on the 18th, Eric Link on the 20th, and Rich Odell on the 28th. For the month of August, we have 3 employees, Scott Uhl on the 24th of August, Chad Brown on the 25th, and Gina Coe on the 31st. So happy birthday wishes to all of our fine employees. Town board members, I want to start with the approval of meeting minutes. This number 1 will be the June 24th town board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I was absent, but I have certainly read the meeting minutes and certainly talked to many of the department heads, so I will ask that all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approval of the July 8th pay bills only meeting.
Moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And at this time, we'll ask the town clerk to please introduce manifest number 14.
Manifest number 14 in the amount of $235,422.11 has been reviewed by the Victortown Board with the following accounts charged: General Townwide, General Outside Village, Parkland Trust Fund, Highway Townwide, S&S Consolidated Sewer Fund, and Trust and Agency.
Thank you. And up on the screen, what we try to do is identify expenditures that are in the 5,000 or larger and identify them here for you. Starting with payment number 1, Bluestone Creek, that's for the August rent for Parks and Recreation. Payment to Shallow Fall Law, Commercial Assessment Assistance. Payment to Five Star Bank, June Townwide credit card charges. Payment to Harris Beach, June Legal Services. There are chargebacks on this invoice. Hometown Energy, unleaded fuel. Payment to Integrated Systems, August hosting and software renewals. Payment to LaBelle Associates, professional services for the month of June, including chargebacks to developers. Payment to MVP Health for the August health insurance for our town employees. And payment to Syracuse Sand and Gravel for materials for road project. Total of the above mentioned expenditures is $185,131.31. Total town expenditures minus the previous mentioned expenditures equals $50,310.80. Town board members, any questions on manifest number 14? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the payments hereof.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, under privilege of the floor, Silverton Glen Homeowners Association Board President. And I'm not leaving, I'm just going to get my phone because I have to adjust my hearing aids again. I'm not leaving. Bill, you've spent, all the material you sent to the clerk's office has been circulated to the town board members, highway superintendent as well. I wanted you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you for the privilege to speak. I am the president of the Silverton Glen HOA board. I represent 102 towns. And our neighborhood also includes 24 individual families. Many of our residents are warm. Today is to talk about employees specifically. car that, I realize it's a state route. Next slide. So one of our objectives, most of the watch that I'd also like to hill sidewalk. Another concern is
So, not live, huh? Okay. People tend not to stop at the crosswalk even when people are waiting there, so we'd like to see some mechanism like these flashing light signals that the town has been installing in other neighborhoods and at intersections. We just think that would increase visibility for our walkers. They could push the button, the lights would go on, and then they could, cross the road and hopefully the cars would stop. We have several accounts of people saying they try to cross there, and even if some cars do stop, other cars pass on the shoulder at 55 miles an hour. And I'm one of those people that can attest to almost being hit by a car doing that. Next slide. It would be ideal if the speed limit in the section of 444 between the Auburn Trail and the flashing light at Boughton Hill, Route 41, could be reduced from 55 to something more reasonable, like 40. What we find is a lot of people, if they're going southbound, uphill, as soon as they cross the Auburn Trail, they basically just floor it to go up the hill as fast as they can. And again, that, impedes safety for our residents and anyone else who happens to be walking on the shoulders of the road. Traffic going northbound down into the village, they're going fast. They have to either slam on the brakes, or if they're trucks, they're using engine brakes, which make a lot of noise. Again, not ideal for, our safety. And there have been a few accidents where people have been stopped to turn into Silverton Glen and have gotten rear-ended. So basically, we'd like to get some assistance or guidance from the town as to how best to deal with these goals that we'd like to achieve, how to deal with the state on this. Because quite frankly, and one of our board members, Jack here, has been contacting the state DOT in Henrietta, and basically just gets blown off with, an answer like, we'll look into it. And that's been going on for 3 years. So we'd like to see some better results, then we'll look into it. So again, we're asking for your help to achieve this. Thank you.
A couple of things, Bill, while you're there, and I'll ask our highway superintendent. So, Mark, Bill mentioned that, recognized right away, it is a state road, and certainly we're at the mercy of the state. Any changes like guardrail, sidewalks, things of that nature, we need approval from the state of New York for that?
Yes, you will. You'll have to reach out to someone there and get approval for all of that, even the signal lights you're going to need approval for.
The crosswalk sign,
Crosswalk sign, yes.
everything has to be approved by the
Yes.
state.
I know you've been reaching out to Henrietta. Have you ever tried locally, like Canandaigua, DOT?
No, I don't think Canandaigua. Most of the interaction's been with Henrietta
Okay,
on Jefferson Road.
yeah. I don't know if you get any better results if you reach out to Canandaigua DOT or not, so.
Okay,
Bill
We can
Butts.
try.
Bill Butts is in this region. He's who we usually work with on all
Okay.
that stuff, so.
all right.
I mean, to get
Bill,
it,
if I may as well, and for your neighbors here, so in February 13th, 2023, through the clerk's office and our process here, we did petition the state for a reduction in speed in 2023. In March of 23, March 24th, a letter directed to the town clerk regarding the Silverton Glen and Wyndham Hill. New York State Department of Transportation professional study this location in 2017, 2020, and 2022. The studies included reviews of the speed limit, pedestrian safety, passing zones, and intersection safety. As a result, changes were made to passing zones, pedestrian crossings were enhanced, and signing at intersection was brought up to current standards. Not sure what today's standards are, if it's any difference.
Yeah, I think that means they put a
2017
sign
and
up.
2020, the studies determined the speed limit on Route 444 is appropriate. Factors affecting vehicle speeds have not appreciably changed. Therefore, further evaluation of the speed limit is not needed. So that was the response to our 2023. But that's not to say we're not going to try to do something here
Yeah, I
again.
mean, we got a similar response, basically saying that, but, in our point of view is that section of 444, there's driveways, there's neighborhood streets that go off of it, and it has a higher speed limit than Route 96. After you leave the village, it's 40 miles an hour, or 45 going east, and it's a commercial zone or a residential zone.
Yeah, it's, and I do appreciate you, originally, I think, sort of 55, I think you said maybe 40 was a possibility, and I think originally, through correspondence, you were shooting lower. We're lucky if they tweak it 5 miles an hour, and we say we're lucky. I think the clerk could attest to this. I think of all the petitions of the state of New York, we probably, maybe we're 10% successful, which is a shame. I do want to follow up with them, and I say them, I'm fortunate that we do have a contact with the regional director and have a conversation regarding, let's talk about potentially the sidewalk scenario. Now, you do know sidewalks in the town that we don't plow, the village plows those sidewalks, just,
Right.
okay, and maybe they
Yeah, I
got
mean, we have
guardrail
sidewalks
as well.
within Silverton Glen now that we maintain.
Okay. So certainly, safety, a couple of months ago, County Road 9 is, we have challenges there. And, in Monroe County, if you leave Lollipop Farm, it's 40 miles an hour, and you hit our county line, it's 55 miles an hour. And, we've tried multiple times. Gillis Road and certainly County Road 9 is, we've had multiple accidents there. So we are very much recognizing safety. Even today, you shared with me, I think, a residence from Allentown Road looking for a speed reduction. The sheriff and I heard from a resident on High Street as well over the weekend. And unfortunately, yeah, the speed of motorists, behavior of motorists is difficult. But let me follow up with him, and I'll follow up with you,
Okay,
okay?
great, thank you very much.
And your residents, thank you for your own concern, concern about others as well.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Lehigh Place, Mr. Jerry Goldman.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Jerry Goldman. I'm the attorney and agent for the developer, who is well represented by one of the principals, Mark DeFelice, who's with us this evening. We were here last on this matter in April, and that's the development of the Lehigh Place Apartments, which would be located on the north and east side of Victor Heights Parkway off of the easternmost driveway. You can see on the plan from the aerial view of the site, the three buildings which are depicted on the top is the proposal for this particular project. And the proposal is for 4-story apartments of 52 units each, so a total of 156 units on an approximately 14 to 15 acre site. The history of Victor Heights Parkway and its development is well known, and the board asked for more information when we met in April relative to the viability of commercial development and also the need for residential development. And to that extent, we did provide some information. We do have a slide relative to that. The ownership history of the property, of course, has been in the DeFelice family for a substantial amount of time, over 25 years in its development. There's been a lot of property which has been developed along there, but a lot which is vacant. There's about 78,000 square feet vacant on Victor Heights Parkway at this time. There's also a substantial amount of vacant space, non-retail, throughout the town, approximately 370,000 square feet. So the market right now is basically non-existent for the type of space that we are talking about. At the same time, there's been a substantial amount of interest in multifamily residential as far as the county is concerned. The county has done a housing needs assessment, and that needs assessment indicates in the Victor Farmington area that there is very little in the way of vacancy. I think it's approximately 2%. But in a market study that we had performed for our property, the occupancy rate was 99.1%. So there is a substantial demand out there. Our market study clearly shows that there is a need for market rate apartments. This area is, while it's thought to be commercial or flex or industrial or whatever, it really is a mixed-use type of neighborhood. In addition to the uses that we have, there are chiropractors, there's a medical clinic across the street from our site to the south is an FLCC campus. There are other apartments and a church as well as a daycare on the site. What we are looking to do is we are looking to make application for a planned district for this particular site. And in particular, we need to really acquire the density that we're talking about on the site. The area to the east portion of the site, which is part of our parcel, is development restricted. There are wetlands and the like in there. So basically, we are clustering our development in that area on the north side of the road. At the last meeting that we had, we made a full presentation relative to the visuals that are involved on the site. The site is pretty well screened and is not going to have a large visual impact on the trail, on the Auburn Trail, and the neighborhood. Obviously, we would, as part of the planned district presentation, we would have public hearings. We would visit with the planning board as well. So to that extent, what we are looking for is essentially a nod, if you will, for us to go ahead and make application to the town board for the plan district and start the review process. I think I'm within my time or close to it. So with that, Mark or I would be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Jerry. No, just to recap, at the conclusion of your comments at the April meeting, certainly I think our board, we had, I think, 2 members that were pretty positive about their feelings towards this. I think there was one that's probably not in favor, and then maybe 2 on the fence. So I left off with you that reconvene with your team, circle back with us, and Deputy Town Supervisor Dave Conan and I met with you, and certainly Mark DeFelice at that time, and I think an architect. So positive meeting, and then at that point, that was when, Mark, I know you introduced the study based on the vacancy rate, which I see has grown since the last time you gave it to me as well. So in conversations with board members, felt the need to bring this back for us, and I know I feel that we should continue to move forward down this path and seek the application through the PDD, which is a planned development district, which allows the town board to set the height. One of the action items that we had requested the developer was to give us different views from, so a number of them were from Route 251, and I know there's one right on the corner of like Victor Heights. Integrated Systems is there. Then there's a row of trees. I mean, we will see the apartments. There's no question, but it's not like we're going to see it. And I hate to use the example here in the village, but we won't miss that one.
It doesn't dominate the viewscape, I think. It's a fair
Yes.
statement, hopefully.
Yep, so, and then I know over by there's a church and I think an auto body shop over there, again, another shot over by the college. I think maybe the college is 2 stories, I think, so, we're going to get a little picture from there. Route 96 as well, we asked for that. Auburn Trails along there, and I know the last time we were here, the representatives from Victor Hiking Trails spoke very positively about that. And again, the fact that the residents who would reside there would certainly become users of the trail system as well. So I am in favor of moving this onward to allow you to submit an application. Board members, I'd love your thoughts if you have some.
I'm in favor of moving along. I think that you've done everything that we've asked to this point. I mean, there are the questions that people raised about the height restrictions going to the 4th level. To me, from 251 back, it's the equivalent of not seeing the first floor. So the height from 251 is almost the equivalent of what a 3-story would be. And it's site appropriate. I don't think 4 stories fit every place within our town, but I think you've done enough on this one that it's fine with me. It's my opinion, it should be moved along.
Great, thank you.
I agree with everything that's been said. Certainly really the biggest question for me is the, sanitary sewer and the infrastructure and, certainly, in the short term and the long term and looking at, successfully maintaining that from a point of larger scale development. So that will be one question. I want to take a look at what percentage points does it add to our system and how much free space do we still have, et cetera. With those very logical questions still to remain outside of that, I think that this is an appropriate place for it. I personally like, we've talked about in the previous meeting that kind of light industrial to residential kind of blend. I think that that's a nice fit for it. I think with the topography of sitting a little bit below 96, it helps the distance off of 251. It helps. I live very near to this. This is something that I will drive by every single day, and I have no issue with it. So I think that hopefully speaks positively to it. No issue meaning the visual component to it. Certainly there'll be questions as we go through the PDD and making sure that, with the infrastructure that we're we're doing well with that. But from the visual and the concept, I think that this is something we should move forward with.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the residents as well, next step is, again, an application be submitted to the Building and Planning Department. They eventually will come back to the town board because it is a rezone of existing, it's light industrial. It would have to be zoned to residential, so there would be a public hearing held for that, so. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, public comment. We'll start with Ms. Suzie. Going on YouTube. Members of the public, an opportunity to address the town board with any public comments or concerns you may have.
Hello. Carol Fisher, 632 Wangum Road, County Road 42, Fishers. Again, we'd like to express our appreciation for the agreement that limits pickleball play and thus the sound of pickleball. It's made a great difference. The agreement came out of our Parks and Rec department, and as you know, this department does an incredible amount for the town, and the staff is stretched. And thus there was a problem because there was not always enough staff to lock and unlock the gates at the designated times. And while 99% of the pickleball players follow the posted schedule to a T, there is always that 1% who feel that no rules apply to them. As a result, it could be Sunday morning on the deck and enjoying the off-play hours when puck, puck, puck. Or it could be Friday night with a campfire and out of the blue, puck, puck, puck. And then we would just have to go inside. So we were in touch with the rec department, Brian Emelson and Mike Stockman, and with the town, Councilman Cusimano. Thus, it was with much appreciation that our town rec department, and I assume in collaboration with the town board, has hired someone to open and close at the appointed times. Keith Shields has been hired, and we are very pleased with the results. Now, before he was hired, like in May, these were some incidences where people were playing when the gates were supposedly locked, because they weren't locked. And there would have been more incidences, but we were away for 9 days in May, so I didn't catch all the incidences. Now, in June, it started right off typically. There were incidences on June 3rd, June 4th, June 8th, June 10th, June 13th, etc. But I figure it must have been around June 24th that Keith was hired, because since then, this has been the results. Nothing. We haven't had any incidences. So, locked gates really do make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ooh, I saw a smile from you, Carol.
About it. Thank you.
Are there any other residents that care to address the town board on any issue? Okay.
Scott Riley, 645 High Street. I'm a new resident of Victor. I've been here for 3 years, and I have to say that all my interfaces with town folk, you folk, have been excellent. Services have been really, really good. I've really been pleased. Until you live on my street. And echoing the comments over here, you can't walk on High Street. There are no sidewalks between Lane Road and Valentine Road. There are no crosswalks. There are barely any shoulders. And people routinely come down that road at 50%, 60% over the speed limit. I've clocked them at 60 miles an hour coming down a 40-mile-an-hour stretch. I've talked to Dave Sorrentino, and he says his resources are stretched and he can't have somebody sitting there all the time. So Mark and his crew have put up a flashing speed line or sign on the road. And I gotta say, it has improved things slightly. But there are still way too many people that are roaring down those roads and roaring up the roads. There are traffic backups at Willowbrook that last for minutes and minutes and minutes. People trying to get out onto High Street. And the reason they get onto High Street is because there's no infrastructure as far as stop signs between Lane Road and Valentine Road. So why go over to 96 when you can drive your dump truck down High Street at any speed you want with no inhibitors? So I know you can't enforce the speed limit, but I have written to Jack and to David a number of proposals that they should consider to slow the traffic down. To wit, yesterday morning, I think it was yesterday morning, there was a severe crash right in front of my house. That's a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit, and these were people pulling out onto High Street, and they got T-boned. Somebody's going to get killed along that road. There are tons of joggers, tons of walkers, tons of bicyclists. So that's my comment. I've sent some of that commentary to Jack. I've sent some of that commentary to the sheriff. I'm waiting a response. Thank you.
I did speak to the sheriff today, and he anticipates responding to you as well as I am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members of the public? Okay, next, reports of town officials. We'll start with the report from our Economic Development Department, our Highway Superintendent, Town Historian, IT, and Parks and Recreation. Comments, board members, on any of these reports?
I just would like to thank the Parks and Rec, Brian Emelson, and his staff for the work at the dog park, which has been ongoing for quite a period of time now, certainly with the grand opening this week and the official opening a few weeks ago. You know, a lot of the comments were echoed at that ribbon cutting ceremony, but certainly our Parks and Rec department and our park staff put in a tremendous amount of work with that. The park turned out to be a kind of a world-class facility that I think if you looked across the region, I don't know that you're going to find one that would stand out above what ours has turned into. So I appreciate all the work that they did and all the folks that made it happen.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yes, I was able to attend that as well, and last Wednesday, and it was nice turnout, and nothing but positive. I hear from residents who've been able to use it with their extended family, the canine. A couple of things. Ontario County is now offering the opportunity to schedule appointments to acquire passports. I did submit a letter on behalf of Victor Hiking Trails, a letter of support for a grant. This grant would go towards the new building for all their much-needed equipment to store it rather than in someone's garage. Let's see. And again, I know Brian's not here tonight, but thank Brian Emelson. Certainly, Brian is acting as our general contractor for that dog park. I know savings in the $50,000 range, so kudos to Brian. And for those residents here regarding concerns about speed and the response from New York State, not that they're not responsive, but I want to share this with you. So 18 months ago, I had witnessed it firsthand. It was also brought to my attention. So if we were traveling on High Street and we drove by the New York Beer Project and we came up upon Route 96, and we wanted to go left, say, towards Walmart, 490, McDonald's, whatever, there's no arrow there. Hasn't been an arrow there. And so 18 months ago, I went on a campaign to get that to happen, and 18 months later, we finally got a positive that a green, a protected left turn phase green arrow will be installed sometime before this end of this calendar year. So one point of success, I guess, if I look at it that way. And it's just unfortunate it's taken 18 months for something like that. So that's all I have on my reports. Town board members have anything else on any liaison responsibilities? Hearing none, we will move to the resolutions. Number one comes out of the Finance Department, and with us from 3+1 Investments this evening is Kevin Taborek as well, and Rich and I have met with Kevin as well as Joel Rulison in the past, and I know Rich did follow up and had conversations with the directors of finance for Town of Canandaigua, Farmington, Perrington, and as well as with Mary Gates, the Director of Finance for Ontario County. And so Kevin is here. Board members, if you have any questions regarding contracting with 3+1 for their assistance. If there is none, I'll entertain a motion to approve this contract.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is passed. Number two, agreement for instructions in art and clay for youth through the Parks and Recreation Program. I do want to offer one amendment on the first resolve, fourth sentence. It said revenues allocated to the contractor, and it says 20% typed out. In parentheses, it does have the 30%. So I just want to amend it right now to say, rather than 20, to say the 30.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Number three, request for a certificate of liability for this same vendor, Joe Fastasia, for the art and clay instructions.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number four, authorization, the publication of a request for proposal for engineering services related to the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. You're aware that we're awarded FEMA funding. We are the lead agency on behalf of the towns of East and West Bloomfield when it comes to Fountain Park.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And number five, a letter of credit from Willis Hill Estate. This is phase number 3, release number 2.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, back to public comments again. Again, an opportunity for members of the public to address the town board. Susie, I'll ask you, do you have, no? Okay. I'll ask any members of the public that care to address the town board. Okay. On that, I'll request a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You know who's